And here we are.
I'm gonna interrupt you for a second. I have food at the door. I'll be right back. You entertain everybody.
I'll wait. This podcast is off to a great start. I'll tell you what. You don't want to starve when you're on a podcast. And Odie is a survivor.
This is great airtime.
He knows.
That was.
I was talking about how you weren't going to starve on a podcast.
I totally forgot that I ordered a breakfast sandwich like an hour ago on DoorDash, and it's here.
First off, all right. First, where are you? Who are you? Where are you from? And what do you do? Oh, let's do it that way. Let's start over. You've got your breakfast sandwich. All right, ready? Let's clap one more time.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. All right, welcome to Unpop, a popular podcast about unpopular things, or an unpopular podcast about popular things. We haven't decided yet. I'm your host, Kevin Miner. I used to host the Upstate Coffee Collective podcast on the regular with Matt Pfeiffer. Matt Pfeiffer introduced me to my co-host, who is...
I'm Odie Matthews.
Perfect. Odie is a survivalist. He is a person, they are a person who reviews backpacks and travel cases and other outerwear and listens to my insane ideas about outdoor gear. And what else did they do? What do you do?
That's accurate. That's 100% nail on the head. Well, I work for an environmental company. That's like my actual big person job. Yes. But do have a YouTube channel. Talk about travel gear, accessories, and everything else travel related. That's kind of like the tagline. Yeah, do a podcast. I do cinematography work. Just do a little bit of everything. Awesome. Yeah. So. Yeah.
And I tell people to do their jobs better on a daily basis.
And does it work?
Yeah, actually, surprisingly so. I'm like the Ted Lasso of finance coaching.
There you go.
No, it's awesome. Actually, one of my coworkers the other day just said that like my energy is incomparable. So, that might be a good thing. It might be a bad thing, but we're gonna bring that energy in here. You've got a breakfast sandwich.
I do.
So we're gonna start off this podcast with our first official segment. Rate that sandwich. I want you to take a bite and give me
on air?
the answer on 1 to 10 first bite experience.
The weird thing is the sandwich is smaller than the case that the tater tots came in.
That's weird. I don't trust the sandwich already. Then Odie.
These tater tots look amazing, by the way. This is great for a podcast, doing visual.
This is great for a podcast. I can hear it. People are into ASMR. ASMR took the country by storm. And instead of just having women rub their fingers along loofahs, I want to hear you bite into a sandwich and then tell me what it is on a scale of 1 to 10. One bite. Get into it.
That's like
Tell me what it is on a scale of 1 to 10.
Solid 9. It's a honey sriracha sausage and egg biscuit.
Wait. Honey
sriracha
and sriracha blended together.
Yeah, it's like a honey sriracha sauce on a sausage, some egg on a biscuit.
That only sounds delicious.
It is delicious. It was delicious.
That's awesome. I am only having coffee right now because I spent the morning attempting to make a theme song for this podcast.
And here it is.
I surprised myself. How do you feel about that intro, Odie?
Amazing. 10 out of 10.
Thank you.
Although the other one, Would have been great, but it's just me.
That would have been great, but I don't like banjos that much.
What about Banjo-Kazooie?
Banjo
Did you ever play that?
I did play it. It was okay. I mean, it was just kind of like one of the. It was like a cult game immediately, right?
Well, you know Nick Offerman?
Yes.
So apparently, that was like a game back in the day when it like came. I don't know if it was like when it came out or it's just a game he played, but he was so addicted to it that's why he like stopped playing video games. Well, because of Banjo-Kazooie.
That's crazy.
So
you and I frequently stop playing video games when we play too much of them.
Frequently.
We will literally just stop.
Doing that right now, actually.
Yeah. No, it's one of the healthier habits that you have.
Yeah.
But I came prepared with a topic.
Okay.
Because you are on YouTube.
I am.
And this is a podcast. And when you put things out into the world, you run the risk of, one, people giving you money. That's a good thing, right? And two, people taking that money away from you again. That's bad. People don't like that as much, right? We don't like that idea. But I figured I would just bring up all the things that could get us demonetized right off the bat so that we're aware and our audience is aware. And so I'm going to grab like the first four are just strictly from YouTube, right? These are the things that you can get demonetized for on YouTube. I just want you to tell me on a scale of 1 to 5, let's go 1 to 5 on this, how likely it is that we will be demonetized for this.
1 to 5.
Reason number one that
one being
Unpop could get demonetized. What?
Is one being like the least likely or one being the most likely?
1 is the least likely. 1 is like fat chance.
Okay.
5 is like probably happening.
All right, hit me.
1, you uploaded something offensive, harmful, or unkind.
Well, you did pick on Kentucky earlier, so I'm going to give that like a solid 3.
We might get demonetized in Kentucky specifically.
Well,
still in New York.
It's like that Tom Segura bit where he's like, we should build a wall around Louisiana.
Yeah. Well, look at it this way. If I go back to Kentucky and they're like, sorry, you can't stay here.
Get the fuck out.
What you said about us not having any fresh vegetables around here, I'll be like, that's fine. I'll see you later. Your state sucks anyway. And I will stand
the
by
5
that
people
until I
that
have
live
a better experience in Kentucky.
And then the 5 people that live in Kentucky will report your podcast.
Yeah, whatever. We'll get we're already demonetized in Kentucky. Perfect.
That's fine.
2, you chose the wrong COPPA audience. Do you know what that means?
No. COPPA?
Allow me to inform you. The COPPA is the Children's Online Privacy and Protection Act. So if we were to say that this is made for kids, right? And then it turns out that some kid is listening to it and they hear my opinions about Kentucky and they go and repeat them to their relatives from that state. It's Louisville specifically. Okay, hold on. Give me 2 seconds. I don't want to offend Kentucky. I want Kentucky to know they didn't do anything wrong. But Louisville really needs some TLC. Like if anyone is running for governor in 2 years in Kentucky, we just had midterms, so when someone's running, maybe have like a beautification program for Louisville and try to get them to sell something other than bar food and whiskey, because it seems like that's all the town has, and I could not handle it. Like day 3, I was walking around at a regional convention, right, a regional conference, and I just was angry. And my coworkers have never seen me angry. I'm a very happy-go-lucky person. But I was walking around, and they're like, Kevin, what is wrong with you? And I was just like, I can't find, for the life of me, a fucking vegetable. And they were like, whoa, Kevin swore. Because I'm usually like Flanders, right? I'm like, hey, diddly ho. Like, I'm not going to swear that often. And I was so mad. And someone was like, Kevin, don't worry. There's cauliflower out in
That's the worst vegetable.
Well, I don't care. That's what I wanted at that point. I was like, okay, perfect. There's cauliflower. I went out there. It was fucking deep fried cauliflower with beer cheese.
Hell yeah,
and
brother.
I just went back in more angry. I eventually found the smallest plate of beet salad in the center of this room by like this makeshift boxing ring that they had set up. I don't know why.
Yeah, the loser has to eat the beets. That's the rule.
Well, but then what I did was I just took almost all of it. Like the people who were in line behind me, more likely for the brisket that was at part of that line, just watched a man walk up, basically like swipe like cartoon style the majority of a salad onto his plate. Like I had a mountain of salad, and then just walk away, like completely ignoring the brisket. Anyway, so COPPA is the Child's Online Privacy Protection.
Yeah, we're not a children's podcast. I mean, I've already dropped the F-bomb twice, so and it's not family.
So I can't say that this is made for kids.
No,
so
I think that's a one. That's a solid one.
Yeah, I think here and there at the beginning of our podcast, we should put in an ad that
for Chuck E. Cheese.
No. Well,
Bait and switch.
I kind of want to take like the fun and quixotic approach that like Camel cigarettes did when they had their neon packages that looked like candy, right? Let's have an ad in the beginning that sounds childish, but lets people know this is clearly not for kids. How does that sound?
Yeah, bait and switch. I like it.
Yeah, it's perfect because people are like, wait. All right, 3, your video contains profanity.
Are we doing video on this?
No.
Probably not.
But we do contain profanity.
Well, I guess.
You apparently can say hell, crap, and damn.
Fuck. I mean, shit. I mean,
we're out. Oh, we can say WTF too.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Well, we can just say WTF.
Oh, that's not as fun. I would say.
What do you think the likelihood?
Well, I mean, on podcast apps, they put the little explicit thing on there because every podcast I listen to has it. Uh-huh. So I would say on the podcast side, a 1, but on the YouTube side, probably like a 4. That's definitely...
All right, sweet.
There's potential there.
I mean, I think as long as you don't swear in like the first 30 seconds, you're fine, right?
I think so. I don't swear on my YouTube channel, but that's just because, like... in my
reviewing bag.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be like this fucking bag right here.
Yeah. Can you swear on Twitch?
I'm not a Twitcher.
Me neither.
Or a streamer.
We'll have to ask somebody. Oh, we'll interview someone from Twitch and ask them about demonetization. All right. 4. Your video is too sexually explicit.
5. 5's all the way.
Oh, yeah. We're getting shut down for that.
I have my nipple rings out right now.
I'm going to find some sexy saxophone music to play in the background when we say that. That's going to be great. When we eventually are uploading to YouTube, right? Because we're going to establish an aggressively progressive podcast that will take media by storm.
Yeah.
So when we're eventually on YouTube, I think it's fair to say that for number 1 and 2, we are likely not going to get demonetized, right? Like we're not about offending, harming, or being unkind. We're pretty kind persons, and then we definitely. I would not let kids watch me talk.
Yeah, I don't think kids are going to want to be interested in like an popular culture podcast.
Yeah, so COPPA doesn't have to worry about that. COPPA, don't preach. And then 3 contains profanity, very likely we would get demonetized with video.
100%.
Yeah, and then video is too sexually explicit. We're done. We're out. We can't,
Over.
I mean, that might prevent us from eventually doing video. That the sexually explicit nature of the way that we are. Like, your vibe
drips.
is just sexual.
Yeah. It's like you just gotta have a pool, but you're constantly like, you just gotta have a pool. Just drips everywhere, all the time.
Drip. If I ever say so, like, sometimes when people say drips, like, if it's related to something that has to do with the body, I just immediately, I'm like, do I need to lose weight? Like, that's just where my brain's just like, do you need to lose weight? If we're dripping, is that what?
Yeah.
That's not good, right? Okay, so let me just read this real quick. YouTube demonetized me. Now what? This is for us. There's nothing worse than seeing the dreaded YouTube yellow mark next to one of your most popular pieces of content, which we have many. Yeah. You can always request a second review if you believe YouTube took down your video wrongly. But Kyle, who personally looks over these reviews, is probably going to say,
"What the hell's Kyle?"
F you, mate. I don't know. It doesn't actually say that.
Oh,
You're also free to modify your content, removing or replacing anything problematic in the eyes of the community. I just had to teach. Speaking of kids and community, I just had to teach a classroom of kids about community yesterday, and I was fucking amazing at it.
Wait, okay, so this actually, I did get demonetized once on YouTube.
For what? Being too sexy?
This was actually pretty recently. This was probably like maybe a little over a month ago. I put up a video, and I use uncopyrighted music from Epidemic Sound, but my subscription had run out. So I uploaded a video that had copyrighted music, and Epidemic Sound demonetized my video.
So that's how they're locking people into subscriptions. That's what I'm getting out of this.
Well, so what I had to do...
You have to have your subscription.
Yeah, they know... Like, I guess they knew that my subscription ran out, so I had to renew it, which I was supposed to renew it anyways, because, I mean, I use it. But... Yeah. And then once I, like, submitted a claim, it got undemonetized. I just remembered that. And I also got a copyright strike for it, too. Yippee.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So now I'm like extra super careful.
Damn.
So.
Yeah, that's rough. It's a good thing that I'm making all the music for our podcast, like this little ditty right here. And I told you I didn't like banjo, Odie. But here we are.
I love banjo.
And I've played it. Do you love banjo?
Absolutely not.
I feel like the banjo is sexually explicit. Like, guys with banjos are just, and girls and whoever else plays banjos, they're constantly, their fingers are just going away. They're just like, I feel like that's an audition for, you know, a date that you're hoping to have, you know, when you're playing the banjo really well.
Oh, I went somewhere else.
You're just like, hey, yeah, you like that? You like that banjo playing?
Yeah, but banjo players don't drip, you know?
Do you want
like, banjo... Banjo players aren't walking in.
Tell me, Odie?
Banjo players aren't walking into a club and everybody on the floor is like, "Let them drop a beat, yo," and then they're just like, I can't do a banjo, but
you go to the right club, you're probably gonna get a banjo player.
Like in Louisville?
Maybe. No, they actually. The one good thing I will say is there was a dueling piano bar called Howl at the Moon.
Oh, I've heard of Howl at the Moon.
Amazing. That was amazing. The people there. The people who do dueling piano bars, where like the gimmick of the bar is a dueling piano bar, they deserve so much love and appreciation not because they've learned all that music and they're super talented, right? And like they're just like playing stuff off the rip, but because of the songs that get requested of them to play, right? Like these guys straight up did like I Want to Dance with Somebody by Tina Turner. And
that's Whitney Houston, but okay.
Is it Whitney? Whatever. We're demonetized now. No, okay, so Whitney, they did I Want to Dance with Somebody. And then they straight up went into Gangster's Paradise.
Oh.
Yep.
From the Sonic trailer.
Don't Stop Believin'. And then right into Because I Got High.
That's a very interesting progression of songs.
And I was just sitting there like, this is amazing. And later on in the night, I heard like Teenage Dirtbag followed up by Big Pimpin'. What? Like, I was just like, what is this?
It's like they do like an older song that's like upbeat, and then they do like a rap song.
Well, it's because people are requesting them in that order. Like, that's what's happening is like, I think what happens at dueling piano bars is like, something inside of people, even people who are like semi-creative, something inside their brain goes, all right, what's the most fucked up song I can request after this one? Like,
no, I think you're absolutely right.
You're like, all right, they're doing Celine Dion, My Heart Will Go On. What can I request next? Snoop Dogg. Like, just immediately, like, it's just, and so the band is just like, you can see it on their faces too. They're just like, well, I guess we're doing that next, you know?
This is what's going on.
Yeah, it's like the worst DJ'd party. Like, it's like if DJs actually did take requests, right? And this is probably why they don't.
Yeah, this is exactly why.
They go to a dueling piano bar and they're like, yeah, definitely not doing that. I see what you guys do when I let you take the reins.
Yeah, could you imagine if DJs at like a dance club took requests, because you know there'd be so many people that would want them to play like the slowest, saddest, like dumbest songs after like at their beat.
Spiral.
Yeah, it would never. Dance clubs would be the worst place.
How many? And so many people probably go up and they're like, "Play Backstreet Boys," and it's like, no, like
maybe a remix.
You know, and then people get mad at the DJ. I lived with a DJ for a while, like when I was in my like.
Yeah, what did it stand for?
Huh?
What did it stand for? Like
DJ?
Denise Jane or Deborah June.
Oh no.
Dennis Jack.
No, he was DJ Prophet was his name.
Oh.
Yep. And he played out all the time. We became roommates because we were like throwing shows together. But I just remember people coming up and like giving him the most random, ridiculous requests. Or like people who were too drunk would come up and they would ask for a song that just played like 3 songs ago.
Oh, that's the best.
So, and then they're like, what do you mean you're not going to take requests? And it's like, dude, I just played Skrillex like 5 minutes ago. I'm not going to play Skrillex again.
Dude, not too long ago, I was in Florida when my buddy got engaged, and we went to this dive bar after the engagement party. I mean, like, Orlando dive bar, like, in Florida. And it was karaoke, and they didn't have a rule, or maybe they just didn't like give a fuck, but like you could just do like if somebody wanted to get up there and sing a song and then the next person wanted to sing that exact song, you could do that. 4 people in a row sang Don't Stop Believing at this bar in a row right after another. So it was just Don't Stop Believing for like 20 minutes sang by completely drunk people. And honestly, I was very intoxicated myself, and it was an experience unlike any other, just to sit there with like a $2 beer that's warm, watching 4 different people get up and sing the same song, just as worse as the last one, and it just progressively got worse because none of them were sober. It was great. It was great.
Yeah, that is the worst. Yeah, I can't even imagine. And here's I'll go to karaoke, right? Like I love music.
Yeah.
I'm totally, I don't know who sings I Want to Dance with Somebody, but I love music.
It's not Tina Turner. I can tell you that.
It's definitely not. But I'll go to like a karaoke night every now and then, and I feel like I enjoy going to karaoke night, but then for the same reasons that like DJs don't accept requests, I don't enjoy going to karaoke night. Like there's so much insanity that just goes down, and I get it. Like people are just having a good time, but like at the same time, I can also sing a little bit, and then there's like. So then there's like do I sing a song that I can actually sing well, or do I just sing a song like, everyone else here and just like really go ham on,
go for that high note and dream on.
Yeah, on like George Thorogood or something, like just sing like a song that doesn't even require singing prowess, like one bourbon, like just
99 bottles of beer on the wall, 99 bottles of beer.
And so it becomes a dilemma. I feel like if you can't sing, it's actually easier to go to karaoke because there's so many people who aren't that good at singing and they're getting up there and just belting their lungs out anyway. So you're like, screw it, I'll do it tonight. It's like
my social anxiety does not. I'm a karaoke tourist where I'll go with a group and everybody in that group could get up there and sing, and I will not. My social anxiety goes through the roof, and it's not my favorite thing in the world. But I love to watch it. So
here's what I've decided. I have a song in my back pocket for karaoke. So if anyone ever brings me to karaoke, this is the song in my back pocket because no one ever gets up and sings this song. And I watch everybody like do their thing, and it's a song where like you can sing it obnoxiously bad or you can sing it really well, and either way you get a good response.
It's Baby Shark.
And no, it's not.
No.
It is from a 1990s, I think it's from from Batman Forever. Kiss from a Rose by Seal.
Oh my God.
Is the song that I will sing at any karaoke because I know, 1, no one sung it. 2, I can sound good or bad. People are going to love it. 3, it's a classic. Like, everything about that song is perfectly lined up for karaoke.
I hate that song.
It's a great song. What are you talking about?
It's not a very good song.
It's an amazing song. We're going to agree to disagree.
Unpopular opinion. It's not a good song.
Agree to disagree. I think you can get demonetized for that. Seal is a national treasure, I think, from Canada.
Seal was attacked by wolves at Andy Samberg's wedding.
Yeah, that's a crazy story, huh?
Yeah. I just movie quotes everywhere.
Go on.
I'm listening. That's all I got. That's all I know.
You gonna tell the rest of your story?
That's all. They all got away.
Yeah. So this was a nice intro. What are some other things that you're interested in, Odie Matthews? Tell me, like I haven't heard, and tell people listening to this who probably or maybe haven't heard, a little more about yourself. We know that you review bags, you listen to my insane rants about outdoor ideas, you have a 9 out of 10 honey sriracha sandwich, you don't like Kiss from a Rose, you do know who sings I Want to Dance with Somebody, you are relatively aware of pop culture, take healthy breaks from video games, and will only ever get demonetized for being too sexual. Tell us something else about yourself.
I've probably said this before on my YouTube channel because I go on some weird rants on that platform as well. But I've always told everybody that if I didn't go into the military, I would have gone to culinary school because my true passion in life and the number one love in my life is actually cooking. It's one of my favorite things, if not my absolute favorite thing to do. So
that's amazing.
That's a little.
I actually didn't know that about you.
Not a lot of people do.
Time I've heard that.
I've always told people too. When I say I've always told people, I've told 2 people, which I guess is still technically people.
Yeah.
So now I'm telling more.
I've always told people. I was like, did he tell me this? Did they tell me this? I'm like,
no. That's just a phrase that I'm used to saying. But like honestly, I've probably only told like maybe 3 people any of this. But if I didn't do a bag channel for YouTube, I always wanted to do a cooking channel. Mm-hmm. But I realized I get a lot of my recipes from other YouTube channels, so it'd just be stealing straight to jail. Stealing straight to jail.
Straight to jail.
But yeah.
Did you just like so? What I'm guessing is you watched Ratatouille.
No.
And then you decided that was the time that you would start.
So Ratatouille would have came out when I was like 15. So at that point, I would have been like I would have been a teenager and like almost.
You were already into cooking at that point?
Yeah, I was. So the first love, I remember this very vividly. So when I lived in Indiana, my log cabin that I grew up in, I was about probably 5 years old, and I went downstairs in the kitchen, and I grabbed out 5 random ingredients from the kitchen and made a sauce. And I used to use my carrots and like it was like a carrot dipping sauce, and it was Worcestershire sauce, mustard, ranch, hot sauce, and lime juice. Don't ask me if it's still good because I don't know. I was 5 years old, so it might have tasted like absolute ass. But ever since that moment, because I was raised in like a house where like watching a lot of TV wasn't really a thing, and if we did, it was like heavily. It was the 90s. It was like heavily scrutinized and like watched and monetized on what we could watch, and so I used to watch the Food Channel all the time. And one of my favorite things that I would always record back when like DVR was still a thing was Iron Chef. And so I used to just rewatch episodes of Iron Chef all the time when I was a kid. I just always loved cooking.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
My you know this. My brother is a chef.
Yes.
Has been for a very long time. He has a very similar story. He actually was super into cooking at a young age, constantly putting like random mixtures of ingredients on a spoon and having people try it, like that level, you know, like he didn't even have access to the oven yet, and he was just like, here's some random stuff on a spoon, try, like, and it would be surprisingly good.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Like, not all of it was horrible.
It's like our friend Chris Kerr.
Yeah, that is how it is for Chris Kerr. Good old Chris. So what do you think? What do you think we're going to be doing here? I feel like we could go so many directions.
That's a loaded question.
Podcast. I feel like we could go old school. Well, we can't do a ton of Upstate Coffee Collective stuff yet because that's like 3 people recording. And I mean, we could do that, but it's a little more complicated, right? It gets infinitely more complex the more people you add to trying to record. So like the interview thing, maybe we could do that as like a segment where one of us interviews somebody and then we introduce it on the podcast. We could do like segments.
Yeah,
right?
that'd be cool.
Yeah? Is that cool?
I like that idea.
And then you know, we've chatted a lot about this leading up to this point where you and I were kind of like, all right, cool. Do we pick a topic? Do we pick a realm of things that we're interested in and then just kind of focus in on it? Or do we make it more like pop, you know, like potpourri pop culture? Like, are we just going to touch on a bunch of different things? What do you think? Yeah, I've stumped you.
I think since you're the host,
okay,
I think that maybe doing,
you're gonna regret what you're about to say.
Like maybe just having you bring some things that you want to talk about, and then we just see what happens.
Great. Perfect. That's what we'll do.
No regrets.
I need an outlet for talking because I actually like. You know, I'm an extrovert at heart, right? I'm a character, and I enjoy talking to people. And I know this about myself because I've lived long enough on the planet that I can say that with a relative degree of confidence, knowing that I'm not being like overly confident or cocky by just going, yeah, I'm an extrovert, I'm a character, and I like to talk. Like, that's not a bad thing.
And I like to talk,
a good thing
but I don't want to leave my house. So this is perfect.
Yeah, this is pretty perfect. Yeah. I've done a lot of like interesting things, especially in the past year. And I think the only reason that Matt and I really aren't doing Upstate Coffee Collective is because there's so much extra stuff that we want to do when we're doing that. And we just can't commit to it because neither of us has had the time. You know,
he's a little busy boy.
He's busy. I'm busy too. Like we barely see each other and we live like 15 minutes apart, you know, it's pretty crazy, man. Especially moving careers, you know, like I thought I was going to be in coffee for forever. Yeah. I was getting ready for the day that I made enough money in coffee that I could get a neck tattoo. Now I'm working in corporate America and loving it. Like, hot take, corporate America, not so bad sometimes.
It's not as bad as people think. I've been working for corporate America for the last 3 years.
Well, I think it's because there's a spectrum of corporate America, not Spectrum, the company that provides absolutely horrible cable and internet access for people around my part. Spectrum, like there's a wide array in which corporations can exist. And I just happened to, much like many other things in my life, get lucky and end up working at the right one. Yeah. You know?
I mean, like I said, I've been doing it for 3 years. I can't complain. My job takes me all over the place. I've been in... Let's see. In just this year alone, 2023, March 4th, 2023, I have been to already 6 different states.
That's crazy. Mm-hmm. That's a great job.
And I'm going to Texas here soon.
And then when you go to those states, what's really cool is I like that you then find ways to get out into nature. Yeah. Right? Because you talked about your social anxiety, and I feel like a good coping mechanism for that you found that has worked in your favor is that you then harness that into, okay, well, I want to go places with less people. Yeah. How can I do that and then share what I like about it? And
okay, can I tell you a story?
And also maybe make some money. Like, you get sponsored by people.
Well, that's I had a weekend, like when I was traveling from I was in LA up in like the Malibu area, and then I flew to Salt Lake, but I had the weekend in Salt Lake before. And everything is paid for with my company. Like, they pay for the hotel, they pay for food, they pay for the rental car. Anyways, so this story has nothing to do with that. So back when I was living in Utah, right, I experienced a substance for the first time that's usually referred to in the cannabis realm. I don't want to get demonetized here, but it was weed. It was weed. Anyway, so I was gonna anyways. But you know, I went
THC use.
I went my whole life. Like, my whole life I went without, like, ever smoking because I was either in the military or, like, when I had my CDL, when I started off at this company, like, I got drug tested, right? Yeah. So the hike that I did, like, last week was a hike that I used to do all the time when I lived in Salt Lake City. So my first time doing this hike, like, 3 years ago, I got high as a kite and then started the hike. And every, like, 10 or 15 feet, I would just stop and rub the trees. And I would just sit there with, like, this biggest smile being like, and talking to nobody would just be like, you ever realize, like, what trees feel like? Like, they're amazing. This hike is supposed to take maybe, like, 30, 40 minutes tops. It took me 3 hours to get to the top.
Oh my god.
And that was one of the best experiences ever.
Detour.
Yeah. I did get lost a little bit too, which is kind of hard to do on a path. But, still pretty fun. It was a good time.
I support that.
Me too.
Grew up in the Adirondacks where, like, your parents send you outside as a kid. They're just like, go outside. And you're just like, okay. Like, that's just what happens. You go to, like, the reservoir or the sand pit or the base of a local mountain and just goof off. Like, there's nothing else to do,
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good times.
Good deal, man. All right, so here's where. So as the host and captain of this podcast, I'm donning the cap.
You're the captain now.
All right, great. I am the captain, and I will say that what I would like to do, if you will indulge me.
Always. Don't even have to ask.
I would like to discover what the brand of Unpop is, because it's an idea, and we have started in a direction, but I'm not 100% sure what it is yet. And I feel like in a world where increasingly people and brands are blurring the lines between themselves, right? Like everyone's kind of a brand now.
Mm-hmm.
You ever notice that? Like anybody wants to get like sponsored by something. Like everyone's an affiliate for it used to just be that like there were commercials, but now your best friends are commercials. Like everyone's got a discount code for something. No offense to people with discount codes.
I have discount codes.
I know you do.
Western Rise discount ODIE. That's Western Rise discount code ODIE. Get 15% off your order. Western Rise, great clothing brand. But no, legitimately, I get what? I can't plug my discount code to help people save money on great clothing.
I just didn't think about it when I started on the
But no, it's funny though.
Branding.
But you're onto something there, because I get emails all the time from companies either that I've worked with or that I've never worked with being like, be an affiliate, sign up for our affiliate. Or like when I'm like, hey, like send me, like, do you want to send me your bag to review? And like I had that conversation. I was like, do you want to join our affiliate program? And I've made it clear on my YouTube channel, I only have, well, it used to be 2. Now it's just 1 affiliate that I really use, and that's Western Rise, because I really like, that's a brand that I 100% fully endorse. This is not like, this isn't like a brand like promotion. I'm just saying, like, out of all the other ones, not saying they're bad or anything, but it's just not worth it. Like, it's not worth it for me to get, like, sign up for the affiliate program, which I'm super fucking lazy, because you have to go in and like create an account and then like make your discount code and then like link your bank account and then like activate the code. You have to email somebody. It's like, I don't want to do any of that, so I'm just not gonna do it. So I just don't.
All right, well that's fair. I am not an affiliate of any company willingly. Other than the companies that I obviously have a job, right? So I'm affiliated with the place that I work for. I also have, hobbies. So, but I don't have a discount code. I don't know that I would ever want one, but also like, I
think only having like 1 or 2.
I've never asked myself.
Like 1 or 2 people that have like this? 1 million. I don't get it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go find us some sponsors. Let's be absurd a little bit, right?
I can find us a sponsor.
This is where I was going with this. Let's get a little absurd here, right? Let's discover what our brand is while also playing around with the ideas and concepts of a modern world in which people and brands are essentially kind of becoming one and the
intertwined.
Same. Yeah. Where those lines are getting blurred, right? I guess Unpop is really, it's our vehicle, right? It's Kevin and Odie's vehicle for delving into some of the absurdity that is becoming popularized in culture, right?
Yeah.
That's where we're going.
I like it.
And we're people who, we're interested in things, right? Like we
have interests.
We could have made this another, we could have made this another entertainment podcast, right? Like we could have picked shows to review and stuff like that, because we do that.
Yeah.
We watch it and then we talk about it. We could have picked games, right? We could have been like, oh, I played this game this week and here's another video game podcast. Like we could have picked mythology, and then just delved into what was weird and interesting about the history of the world, you know? But instead of like finding one of those niches that's already readily being filled by so many people who are looking to slake their thirst for attention, we've decided that we will seek attention just being ourselves. And in that, we've launched into the scary and brave journey of discovering what our brand is, right? We've jettisoned out into that frontier of uncertainty, going, all right, we're going to do it, and we're going to do it with a megaphone. But we don't know what it is yet.
Do you know what I think Unpop would make a really, like, if we, like, what I think a product that whenever I hear Unpop, it's like the first thing that comes to mind?
Funko Pop.
Cereal.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think that'd be a good, I think Unpop would be a good cereal. Maybe like a blueberry cereal with, like, marshmallows in there.
This is a good moment for me to actually plug. I just received an email, and I have become an affiliate with Marshmallow Treaties, the cereal brand. This Marshmallow Treaties and me, just go to marshmallowtreaties.com/unpopkevin.
That was the fastest brand deal ever.
It worked out pretty well, man. I got a box right here in front of me. I'm going to do an unboxing and an opening right after this. It's going to be great. Okay. Actually, here's a good final topic. Since we've been rating things on scale, how absurd do you think modern culture is on a scale of 1 to 10?
Like
absurd. How absurd is it? Like how?
Like American modern culture, or like just?
Let's go with what we know, and so
okay.
Yes, we're gonna focus on Western and American culture. How absurd is culture? 1 to 10.
My gut says to go with like a 7.5 because I think it's pretty absurd, but I wouldn't say it's like a 10 because there are things in our culture that I think are absolutely absurd, but there's other things that I'm like, that's not absurd at all. So I think it kind of balances it down, but I still think it's a high number. I would say it's easily 7.5, easily.
Okay, cool. I'm going to confidently give it a 9.
See, I went lower than I thought I needed to, but I would also agree with a 9.
There you go. All right, cool. So let's agree that it's a 9.
Yeah.
Let's dial ourselves up to meet it, right? This is here we go. Now we've got some direction. All right, the captain's got I've got a couple waypoints. All right. Here we go. So we're dialing ourselves up to a 9, right?
Okay.
And we are engaging in Unpop, the idea that is the podcast, and eventually, let's say that Unpop is a brand new nascent brand, right? Nascent, if you want to say nascent, right? It is a budding young brand, and we are reaching out into the absurdity, the 9 out of 10 absurdity of Western culture, to embrace that idea and then develop it further.
Okay.
Cool. That's what we're doing. And it's going to be a great journey now that we've made that decision. And I'm glad you're with me on this.
Yeah,
Odie,
I'm
my
here.
My favorite, they, them. You are my favorite. Because we are going, this is going to get a little wacky. It's going to get a lot more fun, right? And we're going to be able to cover a breadth of topics that other people can't. And as we do this, I have a feeling that we'll end up having like segments of the show and things that we do talk about, right? So it is a show.
It is a show. That much we do know.
And you are.
I am.
You are a co-host.
I
on
am.
The show.
Yep.
I am a co-host on the show. I like to view myself as a co-host, but also the captain. And we're going to
the CHC.
I'm Conan. You're what's the guy?
You bet. Oh, I was
Andy Richter.
Okay, I'll take Andy Richter, I guess.
He's amazing. I love Andy Richter.
Out of all the late night talk show hosts you could have gone with, and then their like counterpart, that's the one I'm most okay with. Yeah, because Conan's pretty cool.
You. Yeah, Conan.
Don't be Fallon. Don't be Kimmel. Awesome. Did you know that Jimmy Kimmel had a show that he wrote, produced, and starred in from the late 90s to early 2000s called The Man Show?
Yeah, I watched it when I was a kid.
That explains a lot.
I absolutely loved that show when I was a kid. It was so silly.
Yeah, have you seen any clips from it recently?
It did not age well.
It did not age well at all. It did not. The opening segment is him and whoever that other guy with him on the Hoover Dam, and they're talking.
Adam Carolla.
Yeah, they're talking about how like it took like years for the dam to be built, and like 60,000 men that like worked hard and everything, and like they built this dam, and I'm like, I was watching it, and I was like, oh, like this is gonna be like an allegory for like, you know, like men like building something, and then he was like. And then Jimmy Kimmel's like, and just like those men built a dam to hold back the water, this show is a dam to hold back the wave of feminism. And I was like, this is 1998, dude.
Oh, yeah,
the fuck are you talking about?
Dude, that, well, I think...
They have a whole segment about how, like, Oprah is stupid. Jealous much?
I've not seen the show in forever. But I would venture a guess that that if you were to watch it now, you would place it in the same sort of like shock comedy, shock jock realm as like other people who were popular at the time. Ready? Like analyzing culture, right? Howard Stern.
Yeah.
Right? And Howard Stern has aged well because he never stopped doing the radio show, and he's different now, right? People have been able to watch him grow and become a better human, partially, in the process.
Yeah.
Not completely, but, like, you know, whatever. But you know, the Man Show was just, like, this one little thing, and because it ended, you know, it's not like Jimmy Kimmel got to, like, go through the process of, like, had it continued, maybe it would not be the Man Show anymore. It'd be the Person Show. Who knows? Probably not. Probably not.
It's just funny to me because, like, and I'm not hating on Jimmy Kimmel. He's not my favorite. Like, don't get me wrong. But, like, he came out in an interview later on in life. I can't remember when it was. Like, the teens. And he was like, oh, they were like, oh, like, the Man Show. They brought it up. And that's how I found out about it. It was on TikTok. And then I looked up the Man Show on YouTube. But they were like, like, the Man Show and everything. He was like, oh, yeah, like, you know, I really didn't want to do it. And, like, I really regret it. And then the person that stitched the clip was like, you wrote, produced, and starred in it. And you're saying you didn't want to do it? You wrote the fucking show. Like, obviously you wanted to do it. You're just mad because you got called out because it was the most misogynistic thing on TV. Like,
ever.
Yeah, ever. Literally ever. They had, like, that show is, like, it's just disgusting.
Well, I've thought about that, too. Like, your perspective changes as you age, right? And, like, I'm at the age where, like, young me... If young me met me, he would be like, hey, fuck you, buddy.
Yeah.
And if older me, like if a future me came back into the past, he would probably point at me and be like, dude,
keep going.
Fuck you, man.
Oh.
He would probably be like, fuck you, man. Do better, faster. Like, he would be like... And then he would be like, wait, is this 2003? And I'd be like, no. And he'd be like, is it 2007? I'd be like, no. And he'd be like, God damn it. And then he'd be like, all right, never mind. Keep going. Like, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. I got to go back further.
I feel like...
But like, that's where I'm at. Like, if I went back in time and met younger me watching The Man Show, I'd be like, dude, stop it.
Right? Because I just had this conversation.
But because I watched it, and, like, I actually, you know, I got some entertainment out of it. It's not like I was sitting there with, like, an anti-feminism picket or anything. I was just sitting there as, like, a little kid just going, like, oh, this is a funny joke. They made another dick joke. That's funny. I like that. Ha ha. You know, like, they had, like, dude, hold on. I just remembered something about it. They had a skit, and it was my favorite skit on the show. And, when I was a kid, once again, let's talk about getting demonetized.
Well, I was gonna say,
hold on. It was my favorite skit on the show, and I have to just admit to it, and also in the same breath say it was wrong. But Jimmy Kimmel would put on blackface and do an impression of Karl Malone, the basketball player.
That's the worst.
That's a legit thing that I loved as a kid. Like,
that's not demonetized. That's what's above that.
And I don't love it now, but I look back on it and like, you know, but like I think that's what I'm getting at with like the absurdity of culture is like we've gotten to a point like it's like America, right? Like say America's a living, breathing organism, right? America has entered like later puberty, right? Not puberty, later puberty, where all of a sudden you look back and you go, oh shit, that sucks. I don't think I was actually into all that stuff that much.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like you're growing up and you're 13 and you're like, oh, you throw like a girl. And then like you're 22, you know, and you're like, oh, that might not have been the best thing. And then you're all of a sudden you're 30 and you're like, have a daughter or something. And you're like, oh, I really shouldn't have said that. Like,
oh yeah.
You grow and you learn. And that's why, like, you know, when I remembered that, I was like, oh shit, I definitely do need to bring this up. Like, yeah, it's an irresponsible thing, but I didn't make it, but I did enjoy it. So I do need to recognize that the part of me that watched it is like, needs to not be there anymore, right? Like, if we're going to be progressive as people, if we're going to progress as people, right? Because that's the root word of progressive. If we're progressing as people, we should be able to look at even things that brought us joy and go, and if they were any bit wrong, go, oh, I'm not mad at myself for having found joy, but I do regret being ignorant. You know? I think, and then move on. Like,
but I think that's like, I think everybody, because I definitely had shows and things that I watched as a kid that like 100% should not be on the air today, right? Like, I think, I think I don't think it's an excuse. I think that it's getting better, but I think every generation prior to Generation Alpha, which apparently is the new ones that are after Gen Z, they get generation. Yeah, they went from Gen Z to Gen Alpha.
Whatever.
So we got millennial, and then Gen Z, and then Alpha. But
okay,
whatever.
Great.
Anyway, so, but I think that like, especially like the millennials, like I think that we all like, because that's like what is like 14 years span the generation or whatever it is. But like every generation recently has had like some kind of show that was of the time, that did not age well, that had inappropriate jokes, that made fun of a certain class or a certain type of person, and like they've come and gone. We've learned it was bad. We enjoyed it then. Now we know better. Like, I feel like it's just always kind of been there. Doesn't make it right. Definitely doesn't make it right. And it's not an excuse to keep making shows like that. But like, I started watching the show. Have you heard of Abbott Elementary?
No, I have no idea what that is.
So like, well, I won't get into like what the show is, but like shows like Abbott Elementary and like Space Force, I think did a pretty good job. Like, I don't know, like shows today, like they're aware of what they like, what jokes are for their audience is what I would say. It's not like what jokes they can and can't say, because you can say any joke you want. It just might have consequences. I feel like shows are better at knowing today, like what jokes work for the audience that they're going for.
Yeah. I think there's this interesting part of like freedom of speech that isn't focused on, which is like, yes, you are free to speak. And then other people are free to tell you if that was wrong.
Exactly.
Like, you can say it, and then people are going to respond to you because you said it. So like, be ready for responses when you speak, you know, like, and I think that's, you know, it's funny because the freedom of speech is like written into the Constitution. What if we followed it up with like an addendum, right? That was like freedom of response, and like really just let people know, like, oh, by the way, people will respond to this, you know, whether it be now or later, you know, like Jimmy Kimmel, whatever. And like, he's obviously grown as a person, you know, he comes out and like says meaningful things, and he's a dad. And like, I'm sure there's so many things that like 20 whatever year old Jimmy Kimmel at the time when he was doing the Man Show didn't think about. He was just like, haha, this is funny and I'm making money doing it. Like, you're basically like, people are like, yeah, here, that was funny and maybe a bit wrong, but funny, and here's money. Like, we have to pay you because people watched it.
Yeah.
And he probably was like, oh, that's great. I like this. And then, you know, he got older and he's like, oh, man. Like, and you hear him, like, when he says, oh, I didn't even really want to do it. That's him maybe changing that memory to protect himself from the fact that, like, he did that.
Yeah. I mean, you can regret it. You know, you can be like, oh, like, I regret doing that. Like, you know, looking back on it, probably wasn't like the best kind of show to put out there. But to be like, oh, I didn't want to do it when you wrote, produced, and starred in it is where I'm like, dude, like, just say you regret it and like move on. Like, don't, like, everyone sees through that when on the opening credits it says written by, and then your name is the first credit. Like,
Jimmy Kimmel and Adam Carolla.
Yeah.
Well, and he was originally on here's a crazy. He was originally on Ben Stein's Money.
Jimmy Kimmel?
Like, yeah, that's where he got his start. He was on a show called Ben Stein's Money, and he was like the host, right? And Ben Stein was one of the contestants all the time. And so like he would host the show where people would go up and try to beat this guy from the eyedropper commercials who was incredibly smart, by the way. And then Jimmy Kimmel all of a sudden had The Man Show. And I remember as a kid being like, oh, The Man Show. I'm a self-identified boy who will be a man someday. That's for me. You know, like...
Interesting. Fascinating. What a Man Show tangent that was.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm glad you brought it up. Because
it's been on my mind. I needed somewhere to talk about it. So there seemed like when you did the night show thing, I was like, this is a perfect way for me to finally talk about The Man Show.
This is a good space to talk about that shit. And like, there's so many things like that didn't age well in culture, right? And like, it's really funny because the people who love those things the most, and not everybody, but like a lot of the people who love those things the most end up getting offended when you're like, oh yeah, that wasn't that good, was it? Like that didn't age well, and they're like, well, yeah. You know, and
our next episode
try to make these excuses for it. Just go, yeah, it didn't age well.
Next episode should just be things that didn't age well. Popular culture that didn't age well. Yeah, that should be the next episode. Just like a list of things that like did not age well. I'll grab some myself this time. I'll do some of the. I'll work a little hard.
We'll grab things that. We'll grab things.
Grab things, all the things.
That's not going to age well. That's only going to be a week old, and it's not going to age well. Kevin and Odie just grabbing things.
We'll get some things. We'll gather.
Let's go gather
like
some intel.
Like hunterers. Yeah, like any. I think it could be anything. I think it could be like movies, TV, songs, like anything like that. I think would be that didn't age well. Maybe like songs that talked about certain things that like didn't age well. Movies, TV shows.
I have so many things that like are just popping into my mind that have like entertained me over the years. Like Tyler the Creator pops into my mind. Like things that he did and like just like these things that were like very obviously satire. That like now through a different lens, I'm like, oh yeah, that probably doesn't age well for some people, but like it's still funny, like it's still a piece of satire. I don't know, it's just weird.
That's gonna be a good one to talk about. I'm excited.
Yeah. Now I'm really working. All right, cool, man. Well, this was a good first episode. I like. So we are a brand. Kevin and Odie are now a brand. The brand is on Pop.
Link, merch in bio.
Needs to be developed. Yeah, link for our merch in our bio. And everybody remember to go use your promo codes.
Western Rise discount code ODIE. That's ODIE for 15% off.
And Marshmallow Treaties /
Unpop Kevin.
for all your cereal.
Marshmallow Treaties. Is that even a real cereal? I didn't even ask you. I didn't think so.
No.
I don't really know a lot of the cereals these days. What the kiddos are munching on. So except for like Cheerios.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna reach out to people who could sponsor the podcast and then read all the rejection letters on the podcast.
That's assuming they even write you back. You have a lot of faith in that one, buddy.
To be continued. All right, Odie.
All right.
I'll talk to you soon, man. Like next week soon, right?
I'll probably talk to you sooner than that, right?
I'll talk to you right after we get done recording. Let's not lie. I
was confused. I was like, are we going to have a conversation after this?
Is this the Wizard of Oz? Yes, it is. He was here. This is like the wizard like intentionally leaving the curtain open, right? He's just like, I've been here the whole time.
This is no news.
No, I'll talk to you in 2 seconds.
Okay, bye everyone.
Peace.